today I had wanted to talk about relationship and myself generally, or basically, but I'm going to start from somewhere, and I'm sure that there's going to be a continuation of this, not today. Okay, so first of all, I would like to start with my mother. So, growing up, I've known my mother to be a workaholic, somebody that works very hard to take care of her kids. And my mother, I wasn't there definitely when my mother went through all that she went through as a young lady or woman, but my mother told me a story about how her dad left for the city, her mom left for the city, and she was left in the care of her auntie. Her auntie had other people living with her, other girls living with her, and according to my mother's story, she was the least favorite. So my mother was always maltreated, didn't have the chance to go to school because the auntie wouldn't allow her go to school, and she was made to work for her auntie who owned a chop bar at that time, like a food joint. And whilst others were in school, she would be at the food joint taking care of customers, and that was it. So my mother told me that growing up she had wanted to be a doctor, and that had been her dream. And my mother is not an illiterate. How do I even say it? She's intelligent. If she was given the chance that I was or any of you were, she wouldn't have been where she is right now. So my mother told me that growing up she wanted to be a doctor, but then when her dad left for the city and her mom also left for the city and she was left in the care of her auntie, the auntie didn't really take care of her that well. So my mom had to work in that food joint. She told me that, there was, when I was with her in the village, in the Volta region, she told me there was a distance that she showed me that was a distance that she used to go fetch water from a riverside to, and it was a very long distance. And sometimes she told me that she has to go there like 3 times. It was really long. She has to go there like back and forth 3 times or so before the auntie will allow her to dress up and go to school. And sometimes by the time she gets to school, they were already on the second break, and the second break starts at 12. And it was really hard. So my mother told me that it got to a time that things were really, really, really hard for her. And even though she has to do like all the hard work in the house, sometimes she is denied food, and it was really getting hard. So it got to a point that she had to make up her mind that no, this wouldn't do. So there was a friend of hers, or someone she knew, a friend, let me put it that way, that was doing quite well. Like we all have friends, right? So she decided to go stay with this friend of hers, and it got to a point as well. This friend was the one providing for food, accommodation, paying and everything. And it got to a time, I think she got fed up. I think everyone would do, because you have people staying with you sometimes, and it gets to a point you feel like they are supposed to contribute in a way. I don't know, but that was how it was then. So my mother's friend got angry, not like angry, but got uncomfortable because my mother was just staying with her or living together with her, and she was providing for food and everything. So my mother was asked by her friend to also bring something to the table and not just be a burden, bring something to the table. So my mom said that what the friend normally does or did was that she had a boyfriend at the time, and my mother doesn't. So the friend always complained that, hey, I should be the one to, go out and go sleep with my boyfriend and do all the things with my boyfriend, and he will give me money, and I'll be the one taking care of the house. So you to go out and go find yourself someone, and then, you to be of help. And my mother said that, well, after carefully thinking for some time, she had to go out there, and she got herself her first boyfriend. Okay, so along the road, she got pregnant at the age of 19 years old. And by the time she was 20, she had delivered to a baby boy. And my mother's first boyfriend, so all her love was towards this guy. You know, her mind was towards this guy. I know the person's name, but I'm not going to mention the person's name. So yes, and he got pregnant and gave birth. So at the age of 21, my mother's first son was 1 year. So it was like 20 years age difference between my mother and her first child or son. My mother told me stories about how she had to work extra hard because now, you know, there's another mouth to feed, so she had to work extra hard to take care of herself and take care of her baby as well. And now that, you know, there's no one, she's left her auntie, the friend. I mean, you were not with a child then, and she was already acting up now that she was with a child. So she had to take care of herself, and the baby as well. So I mean, now that she has the boy, you know, the boyfriend, she said that they sat down and they conversed. They came up with a plan that, okay, me, I haven't really gone to school, that's my mother, but the guy, I mean, the father is a king, I guess. So, or he's related, like either the father's brother was a king, or the father was rather a king, I remember. And you know, in the village, kinship and stuff, I mean, it's not really grand as we see it in the movies and stuff, but well, the father is the king. So he was a little bit, you know, educated, went to school and stuff. So my mother said they came up with a plan that, okay, this is it. Let's work, let's do something and get an amount of money so you can go to the city and work, and then, you know, when you come back home, you come and take care of us. I mean, we always know how the stories end, right? Your guess is as good as mine. So my mother, they worked, they gathered a bit of money, and my mother, according to my mother, she gave the money to my brother's father, the boyfriend, then to go, you know, go to Accra, come to the city, and, you know, hustle and find some better living for her and the child. And then I'm feeling my hair, sorry. And then when the man left, he got himself a girlfriend, or I mean, he found someone else there, and he never came. My mother said he called several times, and the calls were just not going through, or I don't know what happened, but my mother couldn't get connected, and my mother was left alone with her child to take care of. And in the village, my mother had this weird experience as well. Her child, at the age of, I can't remember, but she said that my older brother, during the time that he's supposed to be walking and stuff, I mean, he was still sitting, like crawling. He couldn't walk, he couldn't stand and walk. I mean, it took a very long time. He could talk, you know, put conversations together, and he was there, you know, eating. Someone come and take his food, he would talk and blah blah blah. He could do all that, but then this boy couldn't walk. So my mother suffered, like, in and out prayers and stuff, and sometimes if I talk about my mother's story, or if I remember some of the things that my mother went through, some things that she told me, I mean, it boosts me up. You know, sometimes when I feel like giving up, it's my mother that will give me a boost sometimes. You know, she gives me a boost. She gives me this boost that, okay, Andriana, do not give up. This woman, I really have to, you know, get things together and be there for her. So yes, my mother suffered, and you know, she started doing all the work and everything, and little by little, she came to the big city, and then she met my dad. There were struggles here and there as well, but I'm going to stop here. If you want to know more about this story, I'm going to have you to comment, okay? Comment. I mean, the story is a long one, and I'm not going to finish in a day. I said it's going to be a series. I'm going to have to talk to my relationships and things that I personally went through. First of all, I was going to write a book. I mean, I even started writing a book when I was in secondary school, but then I stopped, and now that I'm doing this YouTube, I'll just put it out there. So if you want me to continue, you want to know what happened after my mother came to the city, everything that happened, you know, comment, share, like, subscribe, and help support. Okay, that's all I ask of you. So I'll see you in my next video, and that will depend on what you have to say about this very one. Adios. Ciao, 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 ciao.
Oh, don't forget to subscribe. I will see this. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please subscribe.
Don't. Please subscribe, okay? Subscribe. Thank you.